All right. How can I tell if my child is ready for kindergarten? Well, I'm going to start off by saying my name is Nikki Harris. I'm a kindergarten teacher here at Timothy Road, and I have the pleasure of presenting with.
I'm Emily Paxson. I'm another kindergarten teacher. I also taught pre-K for 13 years before this, so I am kind of the pre-K guru for kindergarten.
And we're just a small portion of our kindergarten team. We currently have 5 classrooms. In each classroom, there is a full-time paraprofessional. And one of our classrooms is the collaborative classroom with special ed students. So there's a full-time special ed teacher and paraprofessional also in that classroom to help for support. Is it time for kindergarten? This is what we're talking about today. I know it's that time of the year when we're getting ready to talk about the next school year, and it's exciting and also full of anxiety. So here we're just going to be talking about things you need to work with your child to make sure that they are ready for kindergarten. And there are a few factors that you consider: maturity, motor skills, attention span, and age. Expectations for kindergarten has changed over the years drastically. Um, the biggest thing in kindergarten is we're expecting the end of the school year to be readers, writers, and able to use number sense to do addition and subtraction. With that being said, we want to make sure that your child is ready by coming in with certain tools that will help them with getting ready for kindergarten, being kindergarten ready, like we would like to say. One big factor is in the state of Georgia, your child must be 5 by September 1st. And also in kindergarten, you register for your child in kindergarten unless they've already been in the pre-K program. So they're pre-K at Timothy or at another CCSD school. Was that right, Ms. Paxson? That they're already enrolled for the upcoming school year.
So some big things that we work on in kindergarten are self-help skills. We'll talk about fine motor skills and then social skills as well. A big thing in kindergarten is we're working more on those independent leveled skills for our students. And so one of those is self-help skills. So we're looking at they're using the bathroom independently. In the pre-K classrooms, the bathrooms are in the classroom, whereas for us, they're in the hallway right beside our pod. And so we want them using the bathroom independently, being able to wipe independently. Another thing is clothes and jackets. It would be great if they're able to go ahead and zip up their jacket, putting their shoes on and off. We understand zipping can be hard, tying our shoes can be hard, but that can be something that you work on over the summer. And then, of course, we assist in that as well. Some other things are just using button snaps, especially with pants. And then we want them to start understanding their name, so letters of their name, being able to recognize it. When we're writing, we like to write their first full name. Walking independently to class, and we've already said we watch our pre-K students in the hallways, and they are great at walking in line. So we're excited for them to continue to do that in kindergarten. Another thing is we'll talk about breakfast for kindergarten in a second, but just opening containers and packages. So opening the milk, opening the juice. We have the pre-packaged material, so being able to pull it apart. And then expressing wants and needs verbally, also talking about emotions when we feel something. So being able just to express that fluently. Fine motor skills is such an important concept for this age. It's such a growth period for them. And so, in a digital world that we're in right now, they're very good with the iPads and being able to scroll things, touch things, but then also being able to understand holding a pencil, holding a marker, holding a crayon, being able to write our name, write letters. Numbers is a big concept for us right now in kindergarten. And even though we're at the end of the year, it's still something we're working on with our students. So also being able to use scissors, so cutting shapes. One thing that's really good for them is cutting up magazines or cutting, I'll take strips of paper and just having them practice that open and close concept. Tracing lines and shapes. So anything we could really do to work on that pincer grasp, like holding something. And then also coloring, drawing a picture, understand staying inside the lines. We tell them you have to use at least 5 colors when you're coloring, just adding more details into stuff. So our next thing is social skills. Our Our biggest thing that we always say in kindergarten is we want you to be a first-time listener. So having them listen to a direction and immediately follow it. If that's a hard concept, then we give them the direction and have them repeat it back to us. So go get your bag. And then what are you going to do? And they're going to say, go get my bag. And so that just gives them an ability to listen first and then follow the direction, eventually following 2-step directions or multiple step directions. Being able to sit and listen to somebody read a story for at least 5 to 10 minutes. So just maintaining attention to a task, playing a game and understand losing, which, is hard for 5 and 6-year-olds. So just understanding, taking those turns while playing, understanding like someone else can win, completing short tasks without adults' help. And that's a big thing, like just working on the independent level, increasing. One thing we always say is you try first and then we'll help you. So in my classroom, we can't say I can't. So we want them just to always try to do something before asking for help. And then controlling emotions, without throwing tantrums. A big thing is just being able to express what our needs are. The next one is academic skills. Go ahead, Nasir.
Academic skills, something that we work in kindergarten all year long, but it's great if your child comes in at least knowing how to count to 10. And one big thing in kindergarten we do is use our counting sticks to help us counting. So just practicing how to count to 10 with your kids, even forward and backwards, that's just a great start to do. Recognizing numbers, singing your ABCs and alphabets, and then of course, identifying letters. The one fun part is always starting with your child's name, just seeing if they can say each letter in their name, and then just letters out of order. And then what helps us as teachers in our class run smoothly is working on following directions from adults.
So some things that you could do at home with your child over the summer, kind of building those fine motor skills would be stringing beads on a shoelace or a pipe cleaner, taking like Fruit Loops or Cheerios and putting them on spaghetti noodles. And then also cutting out pictures from magazines, picking up different objects using tweezers like rice, macaroni beads, and that really works that pincer grasp. And so other things could be like taping something down like on a cooking sheet and having them pull up the tape. And that just helps with that fine motor skills, building those muscles in their hand. Play-Doh is also a great concept for that. Any kind of kneading or rolling out, using scissors to cut Play-Doh is great. Hole punchers really help with that grasp as well. A dropper to put water from one cup to another, any kind of transfer activity where even if it's the tweezers or kitchen tongs, moving from one place to another. Ziploc bags really help with that opening the prepackaged food that we have in breakfast and in lunch. And so just opening the Ziploc bag and closing it. Legos or any kind of attach and release activities, like Legos, I call them space links, any kind of like interactive things. Practicing buttoning or unbuttoning shirts, actually putting on their clothes all by themselves is great. Using magnetic letters to build their name, identify letters. And then something that's really important for kindergarten is just building those reading skills for the kids. And so read to your child every night, but then also talking about the story. We talk about doing a picture walk first. So being able to look at the pictures and think of what's happening in the story, and then reading the book and also asking questions throughout the story. And at the end to see just building that comprehension level for the students. So a big thing for kids and for parents, especially at the beginning of the year, is just understanding the difference between kindergarten and pre-K. So one big thing is that our students eat breakfast before we start our day. So they'll get their breakfast first and bring it to the classroom to eat in the classroom. Whereas with pre-K, they eat as a class. So they go to the classroom first and then go down to the cafeteria to eat breakfast. So while they do eat in the classroom, we just ask that if they're there before the 7:40 bell to grab breakfast and come into the room. Another big thing is centers in pre-K is they have like blocks, housekeeping, table toys, art, science, things like that, where in kindergarten, we do more academic-based centers. So we have literacy centers, we have math centers. And then on Friday, a lot of the classes will do Fun Friday, where we'll pull out the blocks or pull out other things like that. A lot of our manipulatives that we use during the academic-based centers are very similar to pre-K, so they'll be used to the same materials. But that's a big thing for the kids. They want to come in and play in housekeeping and play in blocks, and we have to say, oh, but we have to learn right now, things like that.
I think also in pre-K, they could pick whatever they want to go to and go to that same one every day. And in kindergarten, we rotate so that you go to all eventually. And that's the biggest kicker. It's like, no, I want to go to blocks today. And it's like, oh, that's only on Friday or something like that. But today we're doing handwriting. So just getting them used to that we will get to them all eventually.
So understanding doing non-preferred activities is a big concept. Kids will also have to show what they know, like telling us verbally what they're learning or in writing. There is a lot more work in kindergarten. We do a lot more worksheets. We have math books, and Nikki will talk about our math in just a second, but there's a lot more writing with everything. So that's why the fine motor skills are really important. And then just understanding, like maintaining attention on a task really helps. Another big thing for kids is we don't have nap time. And either the kids love that because they're tired of naps, or they're super tired and wishing they had nap time. As a former pre-K teacher, I definitely do miss nap time, but our day is jam-packed, and Nikki will talk about our schedule in just a second. But we are constantly moving from one thing to the next. And then our biggest thing is just kids understanding that they have responsibility, being accountable for their actions and their behavior. And independence is such a big thing for us because we want them just to take, control of what they're doing with their body, what they're learning. So independent skills.
That is a big one. I know sometimes when a kid does not bring back their folder, they're like, oh, mommy didn't pack it. I'm like, but whose folder is it? And it's like, well, mommy didn't pack it. And I'm like, why do we always blame mommy? But it's your folder. So remember next time to put it in your backpack. So just helping them know, remember, you're in school, you're the big kid. But yeah, building that independence and responsibility.
And one thing to know is our students do all have iPads for kindergarten. So while we don't know what the school year next year is really going to look like, hopefully we are in the building with everybody. They do have iPads for when we have to do work virtually, or we send them activities where we still do lessons on the iPad. So they will each get one. For learning our blended instruction models, we do whole group activities where it's everyone's on the carpet working with the teacher, and we also do small group where they might be working independently in a group or working with either the teacher or the assistant teacher. We also do a gradual release of student responsibility where at the beginning it might be more teacher led, and then as the days go by, we do more and more where students are working more independently. They're also independently applying knowledge of skills through games and hands-on activities. While I do say we do a lot of work throughout the day, just know that it is very engaging work, it's hands-on, and it's stuff that's planned specifically for our students. And so everything is differentiated based on student levels, and that's for ELA and math as well. And then they're developing those problem-solving strategies. So being able to take care of, like, if this happens, what can I do?
Alrighty, and I'll talk about our schedule. And yes, like you said before, our schedule is jam-packed, but our teachers are amazing. And throughout the day, we have brain breaks, we have bathroom breaks, we get up and wiggle breaks just because we know they're 5-year-olds. And we love teaching 5-year-olds, but we also know that they have needs of getting up and moving around. One thing that we always do is our morning meeting. That's when we greet each child. We do a morning message to talk about our day. But we also have things like share time. So we might have about 3 to 5 kids share a day. And when they're sharing a story. And we're trying to stay on topic. And that's something that might be hard for kids. So if I'm telling you, I went to the park yesterday, you can't say, I like ice cream, because that's not talking what I just shared about. So working on staying on topic and able to ask questions and answer questions. We also have a great program called Second Step that works on feelings, dealing with problems, and making friends. And we do that for about 10 minutes each day. And it's amazing because it's very kid friendly. So they're singing songs, we're saying chants, we're talking things out, and they are really grasping it this year. A big part of our day is our phonics guided reading centers time. And that's when we're doing that differentiated instruction for building readers. So we start with letters and sounds and build with sight words and making words. But the thing that's amazing about it, when you walk in a kindergarten room, it's organized chaos. like kids are in different sections doing things. One kid might be on the carpet building words with the magnetic letters. Someone might be on an iPad working on a reading activity. Someone might be the teacher back there reading books, but they're all engaged in doing things, but we're all learning. And this is the time that if your child is reading, we are reading with them and getting to the next level. If your child's not there yet, we're working on the skills to build them there. And then we have Eureka Math, which is a program that the whole sister uses in elementary school. And it's one of those programs, like Emily was saying, with gradual release, that we start off with whole group activities. We're building fluency with counting and flashing frames to just count things. But then we practice a skill. And we practice this whole group, like I do, we do, and then eventually at the end of the activity, it's a you do. They're doing an activity sheet to show us what they know. And from that, we're not grading them, we're just seeing what we need to work with that child to get them to understand that concept. And of course, we have lunch and recess, which is a kindergartner's favorite part of the day. And this is the time where they are eating in the lunchroom or sometimes the classroom now because of what we're going through. But this is the time that's better when they know how to open those containers because it's usually one or two teachers that are trying to help all the children. So that's why we want them to practice that so they can get straight to their lunch because we only have a limited of time that we're in that space. So we want them to have more time eating. Usually after recess, we have our read aloud where we're reading picture books to kids and we're just interactive with it. We're making connections, we're asking questions, we're talking about the author, we're talking about the characters and settings. So as you're reading with your child, have those conversations. Oh, who was your favorite character? Why? How do you think this character's feeling? How can you tell? And just talking about books. And also in kindergarten, we write. We write every day. It starts with a picture and label, and it moves on to writing sentences independently. We have specials, which the kids love. They have music, PE, and art on a rotating schedule, and sometimes library time. So that's always exciting for them to go to another classroom and experience something with a new teacher.
And that's different from pre-K. Since they don't have specials in pre-K, this is their first experience in kindergarten.
And they love it. Then we have shared reading, which is, we just love reading in our school, but it's reading again with a big book and we focus on something. We might focus on finding sight words in a book or understanding the characters, but we zoom in on that concept there. And then science and social studies, it's a lot of hands-on activities and fun things like learning about animals, learning about space. We learn about community helpers and they really get fun and engage with that. And then my favorite part of the day is small group. And that's when you're working on accelerating kids' skills or reviewing and practicing skills in small concepts. You might be a one-on-one or groups of 2 to 5, but kids are just working on things they need to keep practicing on or accelerate them on. And like I said, our day is jam-packed, but we have nothing but fun in kindergarten. And in my mind, kindergarten is the best grade ever because you learn everything you know in kindergarten. Come on now. Kindergarten is the best. Like you just can't compare. Also in kindergarten, we do assessments, and our assessments are a little bit different because our kids are not able to do what big kids do. So most of our assessments are observations or one-on-one. Our biggest one is our state testing called GKIDS, and that's the Georgia Kindergarten Inventory of Developing Skills. So just a big checklist, and we're just seeing what your child knows. And we always share everything we do with your child with you. And in kindergarten, at the end of the year, we do reading benchmarks just to see where they are. But kindergarten, like I said, is very fun and you're gonna love it. You're gonna love us. Now, do you guys have any questions for us or concerns? And that was a lot of information. So if you think of anything, please let us know. You can contact your pre-K teacher and they will get in contact with us. But yes, we're excited about kindergarten. We won't leave kindergarten. We got Emily now, so yes, we're perfect.
Thank you both.
I think the only question we had initially, but I think you answered it earlier, was he's already at Timothy in pre-K, so there won't be anything that we actually need to do as far as registering him or anything like that.
No, that's the great thing with the pre-K program is that once they're already registered, it immediately takes them into kindergarten. The one thing is if you weren't in our neighborhood zone, then you might have to, like, it would switch your schooling over to where your neighborhood school is. And that's the only thing to know, but they usually let parents know that ahead of time. But that is the good thing. Like you will just automatically be enrolled.
Because once you enroll, you're fully enrolled in Clark County. So your child has everything they need to just move on.
So the only thing we'll have to check is I teach in Clark County as well, so we're not in the Timothy zone. So, but we had him
So
there.
then you should be good. I would check
Double
with
check.
Ms. Lester, either, in May, things will get a little bit crazy, but go ahead and check in. So since you are a CCSD employee, then it should be easy for you just to say, I want to keep them at Timothy.
And I would even just take a step further, maybe after spring break, call her, because it should be flagged on his campus already. Because I had the issue with my own child one time when they were going from pre-K to kindergarten, and they had him zoned for our regular homeschool, and they forgot to check that was a CCSD, which is a little mistake, but it can affect a lot. So,
But
just
it's an easy fix.
fix.
And who did you say to reach out to? I'm sorry, I missed the name.
Miss Lester, she's our school secretary. And so, yeah, she should be able to help you. Are y'all in Miss Romney or Miss Watto? Miss Watto? Yeah. So she could always send you that information as well.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. We're so excited.
And we know this is a lot of information, so questions always come up afterwards. And so we are, feel free to contact us. I'm Miss Paxson. She's Miss Harris. And so anything you need, just let us know.
Okay.
I think that's a big thing